Hi, welcome to Board Story. I upload interesting stories once in every 2 days. To get to watch more interesting stories, smash the subscribe button, turn on bell notification, and like this video. It really encourages me to bring more stories. Without any further ado, let's hear out the story.
This is Kanksa from the remote village of Kushma, Parbat. When I was 8, we moved to nearby town and began to live there. My father established a company by age of 35, and it was successful since establishment. One day I went to watch a wrestling match with father when I was 9. I saw 2 people wrestling on the ring. My dad told one of them is John Cena, and other one Triple H. What I could understand was John Cena was winning, but somebody approached and smashed his head with chair. Audience was calling he is king. After taking John Cena, they took a belt their home. Later that day I asked my father it wasn't fair game, then it was when I found it's actually scripted. But I found each and every punch, kicks, clotheslines are all real. How could they survive such fatal attacks? That's what I was wondering. I was afraid how brutal they are, and I won't ever approach near them. That's what I thought. I never wanted to watch such games after watching the match for the first time. I think it was impact on first impression, but it couldn't be helped. At 15, I was full of confidence and motivated. I hadn't forgotten the first wrestling match for a while. But I wasn't afraid anymore to enter the WrestleMania and entertain watching the wrestle. It was the day during my high school. I was reading comics books in my classroom while it's not allowed to read one in high school. The rules and regulation were pretty strict. Unfortunately, my class teacher found me reading the book. I was taken to principal's office. They even called my parents in school, and I was expelled from school to take class for 2 days. I was scolded by parents for such actions. For next 2 days, I decided to get to park and finish the comics book. Early in the morning, on the way to park, I witnessed a man was being pulled over by cops and arrested him. He was a muscular man who seemed like a bodybuilder. He was found accused of robbery and assaulting the civilians. It reminded me how assault can differ from that I have seen in the wrestling ring and real life. I moved towards the park, and unfortunately, I found my class teacher was on the park with a woman. He saw me with the same comics book and asked if I haven't learned a lesson. I lied. I was getting bored at home and decided to complete the book at the park. He seemed like strict even when I was expelled for 2 days. I was told he will take me where I can get valuable knowledge. Thus, he grabbed my hand and took me to a place. It was film hall. I was surprised and asked why we are in cinema hall. He told I can watch a documentary instead of comics. He paid for both of our tickets and we watched the documentary. It was interesting to watch. We took breakfast at his home and his house seemed like little messy. It reminds me of how I used to be. Thus, after breakfast I did farewell for the day and returned back home. When I reached home there was commotion on the gate of my home. My mom was sobbing and found my house had been robbed. All the documents of company were missing along with our valuable personal one. There was stain of blood on father's chest and plaster of Paris on his left hand. Bandages had been put on his body, and hand has been fractured. Later that day of investigation, cops appeared on our house, and it was found principal was behind the scene since he had sent the man for robbery. That's when cops asked for my comics books and found some company details along with our financial details in loose sheet of paper glued alongside the cover of. Cop told us it was my school principal who planned to rob our house the same night when he found financial details of our property and company while he found me reading the comic book in school. He was planning to depart to foreign country to avoid unnecessary investigation so that he can stay out of police investigation. He was found while trying to enter custom in the airport. Since the robber had stolen documents and delivered to Mastermind, it did have tracking chips attached to it that ultimately helped cops to find the culprit. I never had imagined such circumstances that could be even worse. It was next day when cops arrived home and took father into police custody. Mother asked the cops for the reason he was being taken, and he is still unrecovered. They told they will tell everything in police station. Thus, we went to police station and waited until one of the cops approached and thanked me to help arrest the criminal the other day. How was I able to find the criminal? I asked. He told I had told a man what the business my father does. I remembered the day when I was talking with a man. I had told the man what business my father does. I was too relaxed that day and forgot to keep the secret of our family. I even remembered telling the man, I don't have to study hard to get a job since we earn a lot of money. That was the day when I was asked why I am on foot. Everybody of your age rides on own bike, but why not you? That's what the person asked. I had replied, we can't own any more real estate or any vehicles for a reason. The cops figured something suspicious when they found our property details and financial information, and Dad was taken into custody. Cops told us Principal did have business transaction with the company my father owned, and he was unhappy with the transaction and deal made with the company since he believed my father's company was the reason for loss of his money. They had suspected Principal on his previous activities with other business and service companies, but couldn't get enough documents or proofs to prove him guilty of crime. Along with the documents about our family, cops have collected details on all the staff of the company. Since my father was the owner, they had asked him about the financial details, income tax, properties, and many more. We found he was guilty of a crime as well. It was when I regretted telling the details of our family while I was watching documentary with my class teacher. It seemed like he was undercover agent who has been sent to monitor the activities. But unfortunately, my father and company got dragged into the case. The lady on the park was found to be one of the employees of our dad's company. I was happy to find Principal getting arrested, but unhappy for my father. I was worried what could be the punishment for my father. After a week, while I was returning from school, there were cops on the gate. I was worried what could go bad this time, but I was relieved when I found my father was released from custody, and he wasn't sentenced to prison. While the lady employee was present there, and they claimed her to be a lawyer. She claimed our father is innocent, and he played an important role to help arrest the principal. He found I take comics book to school every day. He attached the reports and information to my comics book. It was when class teacher took his role. Later, after my father was taken into custody pretending he was accused of crime and sent to the place where Principal was sent so that they could have some conversation. It was in the cell when Principal told my father of his ways, money laundering, and his tactics. The Principal thought he has taken revenge on my father, but got himself imprisoned this time. Well, all the conversation was recorded without any prior knowledge to Principal. That's what we thought. Some cops told the plan didn't go well as expected since Principal have anticipated the moves of cops, but he allowed them to capture him because he was tired of his fake identity. Talking of moves, Principal had been asking for financial support for the benefit of his own and financial institutions, but it seemed to be scam, and the contract as well as transaction documents were destroyed before anybody could understand the circumstance Principal has created. But it didn't go as expected since Dad asked his team for prior research on his previous contracts. An aide Principal has taken from. They found there's something suspicious and took action after Principal had read the terms and condition and diverted his attention for a while to swap the documents to be signed.
And this is it. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to give thumbs up. It really helps to support the channel, and subscribe and press the bell notification so that you don't miss the future videos.